Nomad. How are you all doing today? And I decided to go ahead and do a stream today simply because I think that people might be getting the wrong impression and the wrong idea, all right, concerning what's been happening. And I want to keep an eye on some of this stuff, all right, as to what's been happening in the Ukraine. Okay, so let's go right on over here and take a look at the live map of what we're seeing happening. Okay, this is actually a good little utility that shows you where the Russians are and what they're doing. Now, first things first. There's a lot of people who made a lot of comments about the Russian advance that are not accurate. Okay? The Russians are following their timeline. They are following their tactics. They are following their doctrine. That's not to say that everything is sweetness and light for them. That's not saying that the Ukrainians aren't fighting against this. And they need to. I'm not arguing that point. But the idea that the Ukrainians are having it all their way and it was just a matter of time, it gave people the impression that the Russians are not are losing this battle against the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are winning, and that it's just a matter of time. That's not what's happening. Yes, the Russians are taking losses. Yes, the Ukrainians are fighting. But they're following their doctrine. Now, we all heard about the big convoy, that was stretched along this area here, right? 40 miles long. Now, to Americans, with American thinking, that's just a target waiting to be destroyed. And the Ukrainians have attempted, all right, to disrupt this. But they don't have the ability, really. And what I mean by attempted is they'll fly a plane over, or they'll sit up there and send a drone over and maybe shoot 5 or 6 vehicles, which I understand that, they're doing what they can. But that's not enough to stop a 40-mile long convoy. 6 vehicles every other day? It's not going to stop that. And what's the cost to the Ukrainians? This is another problem. The Ukrainians are not admitting what their losses are. But regardless, you need to take a look at this map, okay, and understand what's been happening. And this is the most serious concerning thing that you see right here. They have taken control of this road, and they're pushing toward this airfield. This is how the Russians do things. Now, why did the Russians stop for a long period of time? Because doctrinally, that's what they do. Their logistics allow for them, from the doctrine that they run, their logistics allow for them to take an advance of about 80 miles or so, and then stop as they reconfigure the logistics points. Now, to Americans, this is incredible. Americans are much more fluid. The American military is much more fluid in regards to moving these things. Specifically, logistics points. We can cover a lot of ground, a lot more ground because of our flexibility. But that's not how the Russians think. So they stopped for a long period of time. This convoy stopped. And then what did they do? They pushed down there and they seized another axis of advance, a major road system. All right? For those who don't know, this is the M6. And they seized it. And they sat here for 3 days, appear for 3 days. Now, it's interesting that they did two other things, right? They made a strike this way in an attempt to, I think, take this airfield out. All right, whether or not they actually made it to that airfield or just probed that area, these have been probes. And when they really push, there's where you see all the fighting. All along this line, you see fighting. I think people got the wrong impression as to what they're doing. They are going to surround Kiev. All right, this push here was in support of surrounding this city, which they've done. But the big reason is to cut off Kiev, and they're going to try to decapitate the government. Volodymyr Zelensky is not wrong. They are going to kill him. They are going to execute him after they capture him. Now, that's not the only place there's been movement. Note, right now, supposedly, they were supposed to have a ceasefire in place. All right? Where civilian travel, all right, was supposed to be able to leave from Mariupol. And as soon as they started traveling, they got shot up. As soon as the Ukrainians tried to leave, the Ukrainian civilians tried to leave, those columns got shot up by the Russians. This kind of thing, all right, is inexcusable, all right, in many ways. It's not unexpected, though. It's not a surprise. And the reason for it is because, sure, you made a deal, and you made a deal locally, but at as soon as that column started to pry and pull out, your air assets killed it. It killed civilians trying to flee. All they want to do is get the hell out of here. And the Russians are trying to encourage this, by the way. This is something the Russians have been doing. They've been trying to encourage, the civilians to get over, because if you notice, they want them over here. They want all the Ukrainians to flee over here and then eventually, of course, into Poland, which is this area here is Poland. Remove it the problem children as much as possible. Now, you've got all these rallies, right? Well, one of these rallies that they had got shot up. Right? Over here, the in Starblix, people took down the flag of the Russian occupation forces and replaced it with the Ukrainian flag. What do you think is going to happen with that? Russian soldiers ruined 5 people during peaceful rally. Well, that's not how they look at it. You tore down their flag, all right, and put up the Ukrainian flag. I understand the resistance. I applaud it. Okay? Well, the Russians shot you. Maybe that isn't the way to do this. Peaceful protests are not going to stop Russian lead. This is not America. Right? I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not supporting the Russians in this. I'd like the Ukrainians to be winning this battle, but they're not. The news media is full of, 9 Russian aircrafts and airplanes have been shot down within the last couple days. And do you think that bothers the Russians? Not before it says, first of all, we know it isn't going to bother Putin. Okay. Nobody's an idiot to think that Putin's going to be bothered by any of this, right? Surely, you don't think Putin is going to be concerned, okay, about this, right? So if you're not talking about Putin, well, what about the Russian people themselves? Well, the Russians, when they're at war, this is what they do. Okay? But something else has become clear. All right? And that's things like this. Russian forces fire rockets at second nuclear facility. Warning of large-scale ecological disasters as missiles hammer Kharkov's Physics Institute with an atomic reactor inside. 2 days after the attack on the, I'll butcher this name, Zaporizhzhia. I'm not going to continue it because this other power plant. Okay, Russian forces are firing rockets at the institute in the city of Kharkiv that contains nuclear material and a reactor that could lead to a large-scale ecological disaster if it's hit. The service said on Facebook on Sunday that the Russians were firing at the Kharkov Institute of Physics and Technology from Grad launchers. These are MLRS, multiple launch systems, okay? Multiple launch rocket systems, MLRS. All right. Now, the Russians' rockets are not, these are not pinpoint guided munitions. This is fire the rocket into long distance artillery and hit this place. They're just hitting a grid. This is dangerous. Especially if those reactors weren't built correctly. And many of these reactors weren't. Okay? This is a danger. So why would the Russians be doing this? Okay? The question then becomes, well, why are the Russians doing it then? What's going on here? These people are insane. Well, that's a great question. Would you like the answer? It's because of dumb shit like this. Macron, my name for him is Macaroon, but Macron urges securing nuclear plants in call with Putin. Really? So in other words, you're freaking egging Putin on. What the fuck is wrong with you people? You're egging this guy on, and you... It's unbelievable to me. Why would you try to egg Putin on? President Emmanuel Macron called on his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, all right, to ensure the Ukrainian nuclear power plants are secured amid Russia's invasion. So in other words, you just told Vlad to go out there and capture all the frickin' Russians. All the Ukrainian nuclear power plants. Now, I will admit this. Macaroon probably didn't need to encourage him. Okay? I'm sure that Macaroon, all right, probably already understood, all right, that, yeah, all right, he's going to go ahead and do this anyway. I truly believe that. You will avenge the death of MC someday. But one of the things that we are learning now, this is where I've been questioning what is Vladimir Putin's goals here in the Ukraine. His goal is not what people think it is. It is not the total occupation of the Ukraine. They plan to occupy this region all the way down through here. That's going to be occupied. And if they can get away with it, they're going to try and block off all access all the way to this point. And that didn't help matters because you saw nothing. They are trying to secure these upper regions here, which are the quote-unquote breakaway regions, the supposed breakaway regions. All right? And to some extent, there's some legitimacy there. All right? Because these are heavily Russian areas. They're not Ukrainian. These are, the populations are mainly Russians here. All right? But regardless, they're trying to secure this entire coastline all the way down to here. And of course, if you take Odessa, which is right here, what'll happen once you take Odessa is it will starve the Ukraine of access to the Black Sea. For those who don't understand, this is the Black Sea. This is the Med. Okay, they took this area, the Crimea, away a long time ago, right? And now they're going to sit up there and solidify their hold on it by taking these areas here to up down to here. And if they do that, of course, the Ukraine, even the eastern part of the Ukraine, no longer has port access to anything. That's one of the that's the primary goal of Vlad, right? So then, well, Nomad, what is all this stuff up here? What is going on up in this area? Well, this is to decapitate the government. These strikes are to decapitate the government. And yes, they are moving in certain areas for two reasons. One, when they talked about those nuclear power plants, the Russians are trying to seize every single one of them. They're going to try and seize them all and take control of them all. Well, why would you do that? Well, I can't understand. Why? I mean, that stuff's dangerous. Don't you understand, Nomad? Don't you understand there's danger? I understand that that's what provides electricity to the entire Ukraine. Okay? Do you get it now? Does it begin to make sense that if you take the power plants, you can then dictate who gets power and who doesn't? They're not going to occupy it. Not the entire Ukraine. They're going to occupy just those things to where they can control it. That's his goal. And we're doing, and I'm going to be real blunt here, we're doing really nothing to stop this. The Russians stopped, they settled their logistics here now for a long time. They said like 3 to 4 days, and now they're on the move again. And they will take an area here, and probably once they take this airfield in this area here, most likely at that point, they'll stop again. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to do more shelling as they prep for the next big advance, which is to finish cutting off Kiev by taking this area. And at the same time, this area is going to start getting heated up as they try to slowly pincher, all right, Kiev, or Kyiv, however you want to say it. However it's said. And then they'll settle down and they'll just launch artillery and then move up a little bit with infantry and then launch artillery and then move up with infantry and then launch artillery. Anybody who is telling you that the Ukrainians are kicking the freaking crap out of the Russians, I'm not saying that they're not having successes. I'm not saying that they're not killing Russians. I'm not saying they're not fighting. They're not winning, though. You got to understand this. And jackasses, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Jackasses like Biden, oh, we're gonna put sanctions. Really? So explain this to me. Russian banks switched to use Chinese card system. What a surprise. Several Russian banks said on Sunday they would start issuing cards using the Chinese UnionPay card operator systems coupled with Russia's own Mir network, after Visa and MasterCard said they were suspending operations in Russia. Oh my. Boy, howdy, did that work out well, huh? Boy, howdy, that'll learn them. These sanctions that they put on do nothing to stop the Russians from actually going after what they're doing. In fact, it's not even harming their economy. Not really. Well, how can you say that, Nomad? The price of gasoline, how could you say that? I can say it right now. You can look at the price of fuel. Fuel's going through the friggin' roof right now. But it has less to do, I'll be honest, perfectly honest with you. In the United States, this has less to do with this war in the Ukraine than it does with jackass Biden, who stood up there and cut off all U.S. oil exploration, all right, in areas that we know the oil is at. Oh, but there's now 9,000 leases, no man. There's 9,000 leases. Jim Psaki said that they've given the oil companies 9,000 leases. Yeah, in areas where you don't think that there's oil. The areas where we know the oil is, where we know we can exploit the oil. Oh, well, but you have to try these other leases first. Don't you understand? There's plenty of leases. They're frauds, folks. And at the same time he's doing that, is he cutting off oil? Are we sanctioning the oil coming from Russia? Nope. What about the gas? Nope. Can't do that. Our European allies like Germany, they'd suffer. They're not allies. Germany is not an ally of the United States. They've proven it time and time again. Germany is a parasite to us. Right now, everyone's looking at the United States going, well, what's the United States going to do? Well, my question is what the hell are Europeans going to do? You talked a big game. The EU talked a big game. How come you haven't turned off the oil, all right, from good old frickin' Vlad? Because then you'd have to get it from Saudi Arabia. Well, what's wrong with getting it from Saudi Arabia in comparison to frickin' Vlad? Well, see, Vladimir, Moscow, they're kind of European, and what I'm going to say it, because they're a bunch of racist hicks. Nice to see you, Jensen. If you want to come in, please feel free. Do you get it now, folks? Just let me know. Do you get it? Do people understand what you're dealing with right now? This idea that it's all hunky dory and everything is fine and dandy, and that all this is going to work out fine and beautiful and so forth. No, it doesn't work that way. And it's not going to work that way. What you have at most is this. I just can't stand by American veterans join the fight in the Ukraine. Hector served 2 violent tours in Iraq as a United States Marine, then got out, got a pension and a civilian job, and thought he was done with the military service. But on Friday, he boarded a plane for one more deployment, this time as a volunteer in Ukraine. He checked in several bags filled with rifle scopes, helmets, and body armor donated by other veterans. Sanctions can help, but sanctions can't help right now, and people need our help now. This is a very accurate statement. That's another problem. Sanctions aren't going to help. See, it was the threat of sanctions that were supposed to stop all this. And then when he did go in, the sanctions that they imposed, they didn't do a blanket frickin' let's cut off Russia. No. We're going to cut off a little bit over here. And we're going to take a yacht or two of these Russian oligarchs. Now, what are these Russian oligarchs going to do? I can tell you right now what they're going to do. Right? For all these people who think that there's... For all these people who think that they can just, they can, all they have to do is just pop on in, all right? And then everything will be perfect, all right? Please feel free. Hold on just a moment here while I tell Jensen here. Jensen, just go to your stream. Just go to the Discord stream. right? And we'll go from there. All right. Oh, are you already there? Hey, Jensen.
Yep, I'm in, mate.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hello and thank you. Sorry I wasn't around.
Oh, no, no, no.
By the way,
More than
I
more than
love that map. That looks amazing, dude.
well, you're the one who gave me the map, so I mean that's.
No,
I do
no, that
appreciate it.
nice,
I wanted to.
the nice and accurate map of the world. I love that picture. I really do.
Oh, do you now?
Okay. Oh yeah, no, seriously, that is awesome. I wanted to say that right at the beginning. That looks amazing. I love it. Anyway,
Let's pull Jensen out so he can have a little area over here.
mhm.
You'll take
I'm
precedence
a
now. We'll
real
put you up.
boy.
We'll take you
Mm,
give you precedence here. But do you see what I'm
mm,
talking about? Do you understand? If you take a look, let's blow up this map a little bit. All right, so
yeah.
you can look at this. Remember when I was telling you about this road
Oh
a
yeah.
few days ago that they were going to cut it off?
Oh yeah.
Cut it off now, didn't they?
Yeah. No, no.
Remember when this was just a little portion over here?
Yep. Dude, you are completely correct. It does look like a decapitating strike, or at least it's how I would have done it anyway. Okay,
But
I'm not. I,
they're doing it, but they're following Russian doctrine. They're not following the way
yeah.
we Americans would do it, or you British would do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part that people keep getting wrong with this, right? It's one of the things they
Yeah.
keep getting wrong with this, right?
Yeah.
But
I
you
have.
go ahead.
Sorry, just to say, I have actually worked out one thing that I've realised because people have been saying, "Well, I'm not sure if this is a real war. I'm not sure what's going." I actually think I may have worked out why. It's because when the wars that people are used to occur, there was no internet, there was no instant information as we have nowadays. So you'd basically they'd travel a distance and do a thing, and we would basically hear about it 3 or 4 days later.
Yes,
By then they've moved on and they've done other things. Now we're getting almost instant information.
correct. I think that's part of it. I also think that a part of it is they're expecting the Russians to fight the way we do.
Yes.
I think that they're
Yes.
using the mentality of how the Russians, watching what the Russians are doing and thinking that somehow the Russians are behind schedule, that the Russians are missing all this. I can tell you right now, the Russians, they don't have schedules like we do. They don't
Mm-hmm.
they don't run on schedules. Okay? They do not. We create schedules where we have to take certain things in order for other elements to to go in, right? And we prep all that work ahead of time.
Yeah.
And when someone's behind, all right, in a movement, for example, right? That's when people like Norman Schwarzkopf will call up the Seventh Corps commander and say, "Get your people moving." Okay,
Yep.
all right,
That was the polite version I noticed there.
all
Yeah.
right, all right, because he was going to kick his ass. Schwarzkopf was furious with him.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
the thing is we are trying to do certain things that we know movement allows for. Okay,
Yeah.
if you've ever noticed, the Russians, and this goes back to their Soviet doctrine. The one thing that the Russians learned very quickly, okay, was that if you attempted these big mass breakouts the way the Germans used to, the Nazis did to them, right?
Yeah.
With an attempted encirclement, the Germans always got away.
Yeah.
Okay, if you slowly pinch them off, then you can capture them, like what they did at
Yeah.
Stalingrad. And Stalingrad was not a huge for them. What they did is they slowly pinched off Stalingrad, all right, and surrounded it.
Yeah.
And the Germans, because it was one of the bigger areas, they were like, no, 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 the Hitler and his stupidity. His generals were like, let's retreat, and he was telling them, no, you're going to stand and fight.
Mm.
Lost the entire, sixth army under
Yeah.
Paulus. All right,
Not actually their best.
which was horrific from a German standpoint. I mean, I from a Nazi standpoint, it was horrific, but from a World War II
Yeah.
standpoint, I mean, from Americans, it was a good day because the Germans were acting stupidly. Okay,
True.
you can't always assume that your enemy is going to be stupid, though, and this is what's been happening with this. All right, let's go back to the story that what I was doing is this guy wants to sit up there and get involved in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's one of a surge of American veterans who say they are now preparing to join the fight in the Ukraine, emboldened by the invitation of the country's president Volodymyr Zelensky, who earlier this week announced he was creating an international legion and asked volunteers from around the world to help defend his nation against Russia. Okay, now, okay, he did this. This is good. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. All right, but what are your concerns with this, Jensen? I'm going to hold off on giving you mine and I'll give it to you in just a minute.
Okay. Okay. Well, not the least being, I mean, unless they're actually going and join the air quotes official defense that's going on, they're basically just going to get in the bloody way trying to do war their way rather than the Ukrainian way. Now, I'm not saying the Ukrainian way works. What I'm saying is if they try it their way, they might get in the way. And of course, with both forces using the same bloody equipment, well, it won't be too difficult. And no, I'm not actually saying this to take the mickey out of the Americans. For once, I'm actually trying to be sensible with this. But accidents can occur. Let's be honest, you see a T-80 chugging along, you lob a missile at it, it goes boom, and suddenly, oh crap, that was Ukrainian. Whoops.
that's
I could see that happening.
I can see that happening as well, but that's not. I don't think that's the reason. Let me talk about this because there's certain things I want to bring up about this.
Yeah.
These guys doing this, okay? I'm not going to tell them not to do it. Okay, I think that the Ukrainians do need help. I think one of the things that these people do bring to the table is knowledge of our equipment. Okay, to where we can start supplying the Ukrainians our weapon systems.
Yeah.
Okay, so from that standpoint, a few M1s could make a difference here, folks. Right, a few M1s used correctly. I'm not saying that we have the ability to do it, but we have the ability to do this. All right, we have the ability, and I'm not suggesting that we do this. No, and I'm not saying this is how we should get involved in this. Understand this, but we have a few thousand. People may not realize this. M1 tanks in Poland now. Okay? If you create an international brigade of tanks from this international legion and send them in, they can contest.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the problem they're going to have to go in is without air cover. That's still a problem.
Yeah.
Okay? But they could do something, 20 M1 tanks can do some damage. Now, the problem with supplying M1s in this case is they don't understand how to use them. Okay?
No.
So that's why we haven't done anything like that really. The reason we're not handing over, all right, good fighter jets like F-16s, we got lots of F-16s, folks, that we could be handing over to the Ukrainians. But the Ukrainians wouldn't know how to fly them. They're not. I'm not saying that they couldn't learn, but to be useful in combat in this kind of an environment, you need to be comfortable with your systems. You need to be familiarized with those systems. And let's be honest, they're not.
No.
Right? So you can't just turn over equipment. This is what I'm trying to stress here. You can't just turn over equipment or anything else like that.
Or at least not anything worth the effort. You have to only hand over the basic stuff, basic your man-portable stuff. And even then, a lot of the man-portable stuff's not exactly going to be that easy to use for them.
No,
since they're
no,
used
it's
to
not.
different types.
No,
Uh,
no, it's not. You're correct, and that also presents a challenge in this case, right? A challenge
mm-hmm.
for what's going on here. But I'm trying to correct people's attitudes because they're going to be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these people are setting themselves up for a shock when the Russians, if things keep going this way, capture Vladimir Zelensky and execute him. They're gonna be like, I thought because all this thing is the Ukrainians are really doing a number on the Russians. Russian
Mm-hmm.
Russians don't look at casualties the way we do, folks. They don't, right? And I've got to point out something else. For all the people who are harping and everything else, this causes me a ton of concern. Crash and burn. Russians pilots plead they were following orders after being captured as 9 aircraft shot down over the Ukrainian. Russian pilots were filmed pleading they were following orders as they were captured after 9 aircraft were shot down in one day over the Ukraine. Pictures show the burning wreckage of Russian aircraft and terrified faces out of Putin's pilots as they were detained by soldiers and civilians after ejecting from their planes. Okay? Now, you have this here. Let me explain this to you, folks. Doing this is against the Geneva Convention. This is something forbidden to parade captives, all right, for newsreel footage, all right, where they're taking these individual things like this and parading them. The thing is these guys, some of these guys look pretty beaten up now, don't they? Take a look at this guy here.
Oh yeah.
Right? Take a look at this guy here. Now, were they beaten up because of the airframe, or were they beaten up when they ejected, or were they beaten up and then told to say what to say on television? Do you see the problem with this?
Now, to counter what you're saying is, do we know whether or not the Ukraine actually signed the Geneva Convention? Because apparently Russia didn't, so them doing it wouldn't be too much surprise. Theoretically, because Ukraine only came into being, air quotes, recently, they probably didn't as well.
Well, let me ask you a question.
They're not. Sorry?
Let me ask you a question.
Go for it.
Are the Russians putting the Ukrainians on television?
Funny enough, no, they're not. Or at least not on TV that we get access to. I have to put it that way, after all.
Well, no, that's a good way to put it, because in the United States, we would probably not be happy to see stuff like that. But
yeah.
The Russians seem to be going in with restraint. Now, there's certain things that they're attacking, and I can honestly say this is one. They're trying to take all the power plants. They're going to capture all the nuclear power plants, and they're going to place them in their control. That's what makes Kharkiv. All right, I now understand why they're up here. Okay, let me get back over into this live map. I now understand what they're doing over here in this area here. All right, they're trying to capture.
It's a standard tactic, isn't it? Let's be honest. Take out the power supplies.
It is, and because the Ukraine is heavily nuclearized, has plenty of nuclear power plants, it makes them susceptible to this. All right.
Yes.
This is one of the problems with right, for those people who don't understand things, or don't understand things about power generation. Nuclear power plants are phenomenal. All right, in the amount of power they can generate. A single nuclear power plant is close to 5 oil plants. And that's not an exaggeration. And that's a single reactor, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay? Most nuclear power plants have 2 or 3 reactors. Okay? The amount of power generation is well above anything oil and coal can do on a similar scale. Even more so when you try to throw a wind turbine, okay, or solar panels out there. The amount of energy being generated by nuclear power is that's capable. It's just phenomenal. The
Yeah.
concern that I have, all right, with capturing these nuclear power plants, if they were attacking U.S. power plants, I wouldn't be as concerned as I am with these Ukrainian power plants because Chernobyl is in the Ukraine and they did not build it to spec. Okay? They did not build it
No.
with safety in mind. All right, understand this. Okay? The other
Yeah.
the other problem is as the Russians proceed, as the Russians take these areas over, right? Take these plants over. I don't trust the people there to respond correctly. The fact is, if you're starting to get shelled, the first thing you should be doing is shutting down your plant.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh yeah.
and unfortunately, that hasn't been happening. Okay.
No. Right. Something I'd like to say, which is disturbing. Well, I'm going to send you a thing off of Twitter that I found on my Twitter. I've told you about a person that I basically followed me called the Shmoo Report. I just sent you a copy of what they said. As you, by the way, I literally just screen grabbed that. That came up as a whole thing. Just take a little read of that and tell me how horrified you are, dude.
All right. Well, I'm going to read these.
Okay.
I'm going to for the audience here. I'm going to read these in order. Well, actually, I could show the
Yep.
audience this. Let's go ahead and show the
Yeah.
audience. As soon as Zelensky is out of the picture, peace will come to the Ukrainians. Zelensky is responsible for a large part of the sanctions on Russia and American gas prices. Poroshenko is a fascist. All right. Time to tell NATO to cool its heels.
Now, yeah, there's something I actually want to point out about this Shmoo Report person. They're Canadian.
First of all,
Just saying. Hmm.
Zelensky, okay, did push. All right, it has been pushing. Have you noticed that by the way, one of the things that they all talked about was granting EU, right, entry into the EU to the Ukraine. You remember
Yep.
last week they were all talking about how they were going to do that?
Yep.
Did it happen?
No.
What a surprise that the Europeans would backstab another group of people. What, boy, howdy! That comes as just a shock. That's a shock. That's a shock. I am shocked. I am so totally shocked that the EU would backstab the Ukrainians again. What a surprise!
I bet you never saw that coming, did you?
I'm trying to warn people about they're parasites. They're friggin' parasites,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
Now, to say that once you get Zelensky out of the way, that peace will come to the Ukrainians, to an extent they're not right, and to an extent they're not wrong. All right?
Mm-hmm.
If they decapitate the leadership, the country will fall. All right?
Yeah.
It'll just all... Now, maybe I'm wrong. Okay? But all coordinated efforts of defense will be lost. Not saying that they seem to be doing a coordinated defense either. All right, but that's a separate issue. All right, but the Russians will probably then install their puppet, whoever that puppet is, and they will pull out of Kiev. The fact that they haven't moved to the east tells you everything you need to know. Anybody, and I'll tell you one of the things that they will do. They'll leave that border open, all right, to try and get as many Ukrainians, encourage them to leave as they possibly can.
I have some more from this absolute genius. Abandon NATO would give Ukrainians peace. Biden leads Zelensky down the garden path. Zelensky leads Ukrainians down the garden path. And getting rid of Zelensky would protect Ukraine.
No,
Is it me, Or does that seem a little bit anti-Ukrainian? He says, trying to say it innocently.
Sounds like a pro-Russian to me.
Yes,
So
okay, just wanted to check.
it's
It's not
it's
just me
also
then.
it's also someone who's living in La La Land. Okay,
Yes.
okay. The Ukrainians are serious about fighting for their country. Do not misunderstand this. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
the Ukrainians are feeling like they're getting bullied. Hint, they are. Okay,
Yeah.
they're being overwhelmed. Now, part of that is Zelensky's fault.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm trying to explain when I say this is Zelensky failed, and this is where a problem comes in with this. He's failed to immediately secure weapons systems for defense and weapons for defense. He
Hmm?
immediately failed in that. In fact, what he caused is he caused any chance that he could get really decent weapon systems like F-16s that are sitting out here in storage in the United States right now, but where we could just sit up there and send them over. We could send over a good 30, 40 F-16s today.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
right? Just take them out of mothball and here you go, slap them together and send them. That would have given them time to ramp up and everything. But you would need to train. You would have needed these new frames. You would have needed to train in them. You would need, and the American people could have done it if it wasn't wrapped up with what the Democrats were trying to do to Trump. If they had put that aside, if all you Democrats out there think that this is all Trump's fault, no, it's your fault. Because the
Mhm.
Ukrainians would have been given all this equipment. In fact, there would have been more deals that could have been helping out the Ukrainian military, all right, years ago that you stood in the way of because you were too busy in your freaking witch hunt against Trump. And I'm not the biggest Trump fan. But you guys are still to this day, I could do a story right now. I could pull up a story right now from that jackass, that freaking person who should have a bullet in his head because he's a traitor. All right.
Yeah.
The congressman from California. What the hell's his name? I'm trying
One of you lot, I have no idea. Right. Also sending you a little thing in your DMs. Just, yeah. Okay.
Adam Shit. Little Adam
That's the
Shit.
boy.
For some
Yep.
reason, I
Your
vapor
best
I
friend.
vapor locked on this stupid. This guy stood up there and was outing American secrets to the world, and then falsely claiming that they had other information that on Trump, right? When he knew they had no such information.
Mm-hmm.
For years he's done that, and he's still today. Today he's like, "Oh no, we got to find out what Trump was doing on, after the election. We need to find out." You're just witch hunting. You're throwing anything and everything. You've made a lot of points to people, and there's unfortunately too many Americans that are too stupid and believe your bullshit, even though you've been proven to be a liar time and time and time again. Because Rachel Maddow won't call you a liar to your face, which is what you are, and she will let you come out there and speak your lies every opportunity she gets, because that's
Yep.
how disgraceful the American media is. Now,
Yep.
what were you saying, Jensen? I'm sorry.
Take a look in your DMs. It's funny. It's cute and it's funny.
Back off.
I knew you'd like it.
No,
Yeah.
that's good, right?
Yeah.
But I like this one too. Putin's mistress and love children are secured in the European hideaway. Really? I got the New York Post here. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and read this one. I want to see what this one says. Vladimir is hiding lover Alina Kabaeva and their childs or kids in Switzerland. Vladimir Putin's mistress is allegedly hiding in Switzerland with their 4 young children. While Putin carries out his assault on the Ukraine, attacking innocent citizens and causing a degree refugee crisis, his family is holed up in a very private and very secure chalet somewhere in Switzerland. For now, at least, the source said. Kabaeva,
Source. No.
right, an Olympic
Yeah.
gold medal winning gymnast, reportedly has 4 children with the Russian leader, 69, but the two have never officially confirmed it. Sources say they share 7-year-old twin daughters who were born born in Switzerland, all right, and have other sons. Okay, are they Switzers? Are they Swiss citizens? Are they Russian citizens? Right.
Well, if they were born in Switzerland, they should be Swiss. Then again, I mean, I have no idea what the Russian rules are on dual citizenship, to be honest.
I don't know what any of their rules are on dual citizenship. I'm just kind of curious that if you're blocking your, did they cut this woman off? Did they say that she can't get any money?
Of course not.
Uh, why not? I thought there were sanctions, right? We're gonna go after the
Yeah.
oligarchs, just not the oligarchs' mistresses.
We're going to go
Is
after
that how it works?
Dude, they're going to go after the oligarchs that don't provide gas. Otherwise, they're going to shut up and do what they're told. And you know it. Prove me wrong.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, and the German parasites are the biggest freaking two-faced freaking hypocrites on the planet. All right, I think I've beaten the Ukrainians, this Ukrainian stuff to death, right?
Not quite as much as Putin's planning, but not bad.
Well,
sorry. Was that too soon?
I'm putting this stuff out here, folks. I mean, I want people to understand. The fact that these people are able to even rally against the occupation tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they're rallying, the Russians don't care about it to a point. Now, if if you do it in an area that is contested, like up here, then you get shot. Okay. Right? Then you have the other little icon right next to it where they wounded 5 people. And if they only wounded 5 people, they weren't really serious about shooting you. They just sit up there and butt stroked a few. That's how I see that.
Yep.
Shot them with a few rubber bullets, right, to pacify the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not siding with the Russians here, folks. I'm just telling you what it means.
Yeah.
But all these announcements, like these brand announcements out here, all right?
Mm.
If they are sitting there talking about red alerts and things, I don't know if these are, unless I see some action, I'm not going to know, right? I will say that they're still pouring, yes, refugees are pouring into Poland, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Blinken tells Jake Tapper.
Mm-hmm.
God, I cannot pronounce it. Jake Tapper is just a freaking clown. All right, he's just a media fucking clown. Pardon my language. He's just he's another parasite. He was on a call with Biden and his cabinet officials yesterday to discuss the ban on Russian oil imports. Oh, we discussed it. Oh, that'll do it. Oh, Vlad is shaking in his boots today. Oh, we discussed it. We discussed what was going to happen.
You know that there's a 90% chance Vlad doesn't even know the name of this other dude. Blinken? You know that, right?
Yeah, this guy's he's been a clown his entire career. He's been a clown, and things haven't changed. What's this little thing here? Oh, Amex. In light of American Express is suspending all operations in Russia. Oh no!
How will they cope?
How are they going to handle that? Now, I'm going to say something, right? In all seriousness, My company, the company that I work for, is a Swedish company, but it's worldwide. We have people in the Ukraine that are part of my company. We have people in my company that are Russians, right? Um, so these things do come to, you know, they do have an effect on us.
Yeah.
And it has an effect on me specifically, right? Because some of these people I deal with, right? In my normal job. Now, have I seen anything? I'll be perfectly blunt with you. I can still talk to my associates and so forth in both countries. All right. So I don't know how much everything being taken down has happened, really, right? And of course, there's nothing I can do specifically to help either one of them, right? Not I'm not trying to take sides here or anything. I just want to point this out, okay? That these things are serious. I think I've had enough beating on the Russians, though, right? Let's beat on some. Let's beat on some
Yeah.
Americans. All right, Seattle. Now listen to this, folks. Seattle
They're
police.
barely American. Come on, they are barely American.
There's a lot of truth to that statement. Seattle police fatally shoot man who crashed into a downtown federal building and fired a rifle. Cops fatally shot a man that rammed his car into a federal building in downtown Seattle and fired a rifle on Saturday, officials said. The unidentified man inside the vehicle was discovered by the cops responding to the shooting and crash that forced bystanders to flee for their lives around 8 p.m. on Saturday. When officers tried to speak to the man, they opened fire and struck him. Now, what does that mean?
So they're saying that the cops had guns in their mouths. Wow.
When the cops tried to speak to him, they decided to use the speaking from firearms. Bang, 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 freeze! Right? I mean, isn't that how it sounds?
Pretty much, yeah.
They opened fire and struck him. The man died at the scene. Police said for reasons that remain under investigation, the officers fatally shot the man. Had nothing better to do. The incident follows another shooting that took place in downtown Seattle on Friday involving a 15-year-old boy who was gunned down, according to Fox 13. It looks like the Seattle police have borrowed a few Russians for their policing service.
Just something to say to you, okay? It's now been effectively 2 days, and they still aren't telling you precisely which type of person was in the car. We could take a guess that it was probably a darker skin, not fully black, I want that stated, but a darker skin, and possibly of Middle Eastern descent, has a distinct possibility.
Really? That's where you went first? That's the first thing that came to your mind?
I'm English, what do you expect? Of course, we blame them first.
The first... Oh.
I'm sorry, next.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth in that. That makes a lot of sense. That really does. No,
sorry, it's what it is.
It is. I can't deny that. That's well put. That's well put.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you, though. I think that it has something to do with something else.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like my theory?
Go on, you go for it, mate.
My theory is this is an Antifa loot at the federal building they crashed into is probably an immigration thing, all right? And that the guy was trying to make an attack on it. That's what I think. I think this is an Antifa loot. All right, they were looking at the Antifa going down in Portland. All right, they see what's going around in the world today. Well, yeah, we got to stop the fascists. Let's go after the federal government. The same shit that they do every single time. Hello, random YouTuber.
In
This is what
all
this is what
fairness,
these leftist lunatics do all the time. Or am I missing
you may
something?
well be right with that, by the way, because think about this, okay? When was the last time Antifa was mentioned? When was the last time it was brought to people's attention? It's not. It's been hell. It's been as forgotten as the coof. Okay, so this could be their way of going. Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Yeah, that could be. Now,
Yeah, I did that.
you got the Daily Star, right? That
Mm-hmm.
is a British paper.
Yeah, I'd be very careful about calling it a paper. Tabloid would be considered a good thing in comparison to how bad this is. Okay,
Mad Vlad dying of cancer. Really?
and there we go. There we go.
Really? Vladimir's dying of cancer. That's why he's doing all this. He's in pain from cancer. Well, the hell with the Ukrainians, and I'm gonna suffer cancer. I'm not saying it's not possible, because unfortunately it is. But I don't think so. All right, I'm just
Oh,
put it out there.
I will be surprised. Let's put it that way.
All right. Now, okay. First of all, Zelensky. I gave him a lot of credit. All right, for saying I don't need a ride, I need ammo. All right, great
That
line,
was still awesome.
awesome
Yeah.
line. All right, loved it. Right. I mean, that's the kind of thing that gives military guys chubbies. Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just like yes, that's the kind of leader you're looking for. Gotta give him credit for that. But that whiny, let's just sit across the table, Vlad. I'm not your enemy. Oh my God, you sold just how much.
Sick.
You should have just sit up there and said, "Look." You should have said, "Look, we you know, I'm will. We're, he should have only said, "I'm willing to talk." He never should have said
Yep.
anything more than that. Okay, he should have shut his mouth. Because I think what he's getting concerned with is the fact that I think he's realizing that they are actually trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about this, folks. All right, the Russians have, and I believe this. I do believe
Mm-hmm.
the Russians have sent in hit squads.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that they have tried, all right, to send in the Chechens, all right, and that's what they've been using as saboteurs to go into these various areas, right, to destabilize and see if they could kill him. See if they could sit up there and track him and kill him. I do believe that. Now, I think Vlad may have called them off, realizing that he can't do that. That that's not a that he can't do it that way, right? That the world's reaction, all right, would not be in his favor. Because if they capture and then execute Zelensky, right? The the let's be honest, the Europeans will have no choice but to sit up there and cut off gas. They'd have to tell their citizens that they're going to have to suck it up. They would have to, all right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have any choice. Now, this is a bunch of bullshit. Germany faces reckoning for relying upon Russia's cheap energy. Where's the reckoning? All right, where's the reckoning?
Yeah.
From Bloomberg News, for years, U.S. has warned Germany of building up a dangerous energy dependence on Russia. Yeah, because they turned off all their nuclear power.
Hmm.
People forget this, right? You notice how France doesn't have any oil pipelines down here?
Oh yeah.
You know why?
It's here's a thought for you, dude. You realise that France is actually the better people in this equation.
I understand.
Wow. I did not think I'd ever say those words.
Right? Do you know why, though, that you don't see these big oil pipelines all over France?
Go on.
Because 80% of their power grid is nuclear.
Fair. Explains it.
80%. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The French figured out a long time ago hey, this shit works. This is why they've been going around building them all over the world. Unfortunately, they have a chance for trying to go to the Middle East to build these things. We don't know why. Right? You
Mm.
have to understand France's obsession with building nuclear. If you built a nuclear power plant in like Karachi,
Mhm.
or down there in Mexico City, or San Pablo or Rio de Janeiro, yeah, I can see you doing that. Why you want to do it
Yeah.
in Iraq, I don't know. Why you want to do it in Syria? Well, they do have ties to Syria. I do get that. Some of them do.
Hmm.
But still, you know, the French have got it wrong. Okay, but there's a reason that they don't. Like I said, they've been building nuclear power plants everywhere. Germany, on the other
Yeah.
hand, all right, you can see that they have a pipeline that ends right with them.
Yep.
Notice Turkey does too. Turkey has three. All right. For which, what they do is they ship it over to these other guys. All right, if you want to know the truth of the matter, they ship it to Spain, and they ship it to Greece, and they ship it to Italy. All right, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
You notice the Romanians don't have any of this shit, although they do have the pipeline going through their area. Might have something to do with the fact that the Romanians hate everybody. Let's be perfectly frank. Let's be perfectly frank. The Romanians, they're Romanians, so they don't think like anybody else. Okay.
In all fairness, they have been screwed over pretty much by most people in their area, haven't they? Let's be fair.
Considering America liberated 5 countries in the Middle East, surely Russia just liberated the Ukraine, or is one of those hypocrisy things. All right. Now, first of all, let's when we talk about the Ukraine, when did the nation of Ukraine come into existence?
1991.
Well, before that.
Oh, Christ knows. I mean, I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Hence my comment. Okay. The Ukrainians are a distinct ethnic people. Okay, they have their own language. It's not Russian. All right.
No.
It is Cyrillic. All right. It is Slavic. Okay. Just like the Romanians, but it's a distinct language from the Romanians and the Bulgarians and the Hungarians, which are right here as well. Okay. And I want it to be known, but they've never really had a Ukraine the way it is today. Okay, that was an artificial border being drawn. All right, when the Soviet Union collapsed. Okay, and what caused the Soviet Union collapse? People forget this more than anything else was Poland. When Poland, when Lech Walesa led a successful movement in Poland that they couldn't suppress, it shook all the foundations of the Warsaw Pact as well as the Soviet Union as it then currently existed. Right? It's something that people need to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I like this map, to be honest, because it does show you a lot of the old Warsaw countries. Now, what happened is a lot of these Warsaw countries said, "Okay, we're leaving the Russians. You got to protect us now because we're afraid of the Russians. Punitive, punitive retaliatory strikes. Understandable, okay."
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of these countries, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, joined the Warsaw Pact. Poland, and then the 3 Baltic nations. Now, these 3 Baltic nations, so the people understand them, they are also not Russian, but they were also much stronger principalities unto themselves. Okay, there's actually Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia were their own countries. All right, prior to the creation of the Soviet Union. Okay, prior to the hegemony from Moscow. Okay.
Hmm.
Now they were conquered, they with the Russian Empire, but they were principalities more than anything else. So there's really more cohesiveness, national cohesiveness in these areas than there was in the Ukraine. I want people to understand that. Like I said, I'm not saying that the Ukrainians aren't fighting for the country. They are. The thing that's getting to me, irritating me, is all these people talking about, well, we need to do sanctions, we need to do something. Well, but we're being undercut by the Europeans. They're parasites. And they have not been living up to their commitments. Germany hasn't been living up to its NATO commitments for what, going on 4 decades now? So they've got 4 decades of back pay owed, as far as I'm concerned. Am I missing something?
No, I'm just laughing at the concept of them actually paying that back. Good luck with that one, but I
Well,
agree.
now the problem is that they're Germans. Let's be perfectly frank.
Yeah.
The one thing that Germany has realized is that they're Germans. Well, no matter what the hell are you trying to say here? I'm saying, okay, yes, if the Ukraine falls, Poland will be like, not again. Yeah, that's a concern. You gotta give if you're Polish, you are concerned seriously with what's going on here. Can't
Oh
deny
yeah.
that. They got every reason to be. You have to admit that they have every reason to be very concerned with what's happening.
Yeah.
The problem with the Germans is the Germans said, okay, we want to control Europe. Okay? They tried it twice militarily and failed.
Yeah.
So then they created the EU, which they completely dominated and took total control over. Or am I missing
Hmm.
something? Right?
Oh no, no, no! You've actually said it pretty accurately. They had France assist them, pretty much like most of the world wars, and then the British, again, tell me I'm wrong, and the British went, "Nah, mate, we're out of here," and basically, to put it bluntly, shit went south. Pretty much like both world wars. I'm seeing a pattern here. I really am.
All right. So the Germans, all right, I'll be honest with you, all right. I really wish the map was a little shifted and you could swap, right, the positions of Germany and Poland.
Oh yeah.
They can have all the resources and everything else that they'd used before. Just swap those two countries. Life would be so much better for everyone,
I think the
right?
Polish probably want that. Let's be blunt.
All right. But now, it is what it is, though. But Germany now has been, they've been focused economically with dominating Europe. They now have to, like it or not, they're going to have to build up their armed forces if they're serious about defending themselves and they're serious about defending the EU. They're going to have to
No.
build up their military forces. They've been languishing. They have not done anything. In fact, I think one study I saw said that they have less than 500, all right, main battle tanks ready for battle. I saw one report that said it was close to 50.
Yeah, well, that's not good.
Well, and it's because they haven't been exercising. They haven't been
Hmm.
the German military has not been engaging themselves in any real sense. So they've been languishing. Well, you know what? It's time for them to step up.
Yeah.
Ready to go on another story about America? I've enough talking about the
Hmm.
freaking Europeans. Battery victim initially thought his girlfriend was being rough. Your girlfriend is rough, dude. I mean, you see this face? That's a rough face. All right? A Florida man said that he thought. Okay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I I'm looking at that picture and I'm trying. Is that? Oh my god, they are. Are they tattoos or is she just literally? No, that's got to be tattoos. There's too much black ink.
Yes,
Or she sat there
tattoos.
writing on his face. One or the other.
No. Those are her tattoos. This is a her.
Oh, God, that's a her. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oops.
I know you just misgendered
Oh,
somebody. Isn't that a fatal crime? Isn't that
uh,
punishable by years in the gulag for you?
actually, if I was in Scotland, yeah. So, okay, so let me change that to it. There you go. It.
All right. A Florida man told police that he thought his girlfriend was being rough, like 50 Shades of Grey, when she began to slap him yesterday. But he eventually fled the couple's apartment when the woman became more aggressive and left him seeing stars with a bump on his head. She didn't slap you. That's beyond bitch slapping, dude. It sounds like this woman
Yep.
pulled an implement. Cops say that Nicole Okonu, all right, 21, and a 40-year-old victim. Now, this guy probably thought, oh, I got a young thing here. I can take,
Yeah.
returned to their Largo home early Monday morning after attending a festival. The pair argued when Okone was unable to locate her phone. Well, okay. She, though she would eventually find the device, Okone was still upset. That's right, because a mad woman is a mad woman. They either calm down on their own or they don't calm down. It's just that easy. You have yet to
Yeah.
understand that you're a 40-year-old man and you haven't figured this out? All right? The victim attempted
Boy,
to sit at his desk and ignore the defendant. Oh! Oh,
oops.
that. You ignore the crazy
It's
woman,
gonna go well.
what's going to happen? No, if you're going to ignore the crazy woman, get in your car and go to Wendy's, go to McDonald's, go down to what do you call those places?
Mexico?
You can't quite do that. Not from Florida anyway. But you need to go to give your woman some time to cool down on her own. All right,
Yeah.
and then you can come back to your house. Now I know people don't understand this rule, but when the wife's mad, leave.
Yeah.
All right, just put it out there. She allegedly then began to slap the victim on the arms and on the back, and initially believed the victim was being rough, like 50 Shades of Grey. Did she have her clothes off? Because if she didn't have her clothes off, I don't think I'd be thinking that. All right? When her
No.
blows became more aggressive, the victim said he told her to stop. Oh, that'll work. She continued to strike and scratch him. All right? Hard enough to cause a sizable bump on his head and large scratches on his back. And of course, when was this? 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Dude, the only way that you would be thinking this is if somehow you when you went to your desk, pulled out a bag of weed, all right, laced weed at that, all right, to get yourself high. At which point she was probably
Yeah.
bitching because you didn't give her none. But I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. I think we can both agree crack is a hell of a drug. Okay? And it probably explains an awful lot about what happened there.
Now this is the part that concerns me because dude, you're screwed, right? She was arrested on domestic battery, a misdemeanor, and booked to the county jail, from which she was released this afternoon on her own recognizance.
Run.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Apparently, still wearing the festival face paint, which is pictured above. Okay, so but apparently this is not tattoos. This is just little like drawing
Okay.
paint things for this festival that they're at.
Okay.
She was charged last year, however, with domestic battery for allegedly pushing her brother in the face during an argument. What kind of? Hold on here. It's time out. Your brother. What is he? 12? Because that's the only way I can see that this makes any sense. That she was arrested
Honey.
last year, right?
Here you go. She's turned to him, Oni-chan, and punched the geezer in the face. Why did they just have not taken this creature away and...
Like, but you arrested her for shoving your boy your brother. If my sister shoved me, okay, most likely I wouldn't do anything. But then again, if I'm not going to the police,
No.
all right. If my sister, who is now much older, just like I am, so this
Mm-hmm.
was, but when I was a teen, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to get physical with my sister, she'd be on the floor.
Yeah.
Like she shoved
Yeah.
me in the face, I'll hit her in the face. Well, that's really. So you want to play? You want to play the game of hitting? Okay, you know, you shove me, I slap you, you're on the floor.
Yeah.
That's simple, right? All right, that's what sisters. That's what sisters are like, unless they're much older. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yours is much older.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, no. It's very much a case of when they start playing, look, just save time and effort. You have two choices, run or fight.
Yeah.
And fight is generally a damn lot more fun.
Well, fighting is fun until they pick up an
You
implement.
mean her shoe? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, if the shoe is only a backup tool, let's be honest. If she has access to other weaponry, that's coming out first, like a harpoon.
Fair. Oi, well, yeah, stop reminding me about that. I've still got nightmares.
It's an inside joke, folks. It's an inside joke. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you for joining. All right. Is there anything that you specifically want to talk about? Anything going on in
Uh,
the land of the UK
no,
you care to
actually,
reference?
things have pretty much been fairly quiet over here. But that just means they're building up, waiting for something more exciting to happen. In all fairness, almost all of the news is talking about bloody Ukraine. So we're waiting for something exciting to hit the news over here. But nothing really is, mate. But thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah, well, there's one more thing I forgot to mention. Okay,
Oh,
and with back to this when we were talking about this international brigade stuff,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sure that there's a few British that have been saying they're going over there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the Russians have already put it out that they're not going to recognize them as POWs.
No.
Now, that's concerning. Okay, you
Yeah.
if you're going over there, understand how you are about to be treated should you get captured.
Yes.
Okay, you are not going to be treated as a POW, which is a POW in Russia is not they're not treated all that well to begin with. Let's be perfectly frank.
Yeah.
You're going to be treated as a criminal, and you're going to be treated as a war criminal. They're going to try and hold you for trial.
If you're lucky, they may just literally shoot you.
They could. They could sit up there and say that you're a civilian in shooting at us as a civilian. In which case, the Geneva Conventions, you're a spy because you're a foreign spy shooting at us. We'll just
Mhm.
execute you in mass. But by the
Yep.
Geneva Convention, that's legal, folks.
Yep. So I think that's actually something a lot of people don't realise. Okay.
Summary
Which is
executions are
quite
legal.
interesting.
Summary
Mm-hmm.
executions are still legal. There is a legal process for those. All right. So if you're going to go over there to fight the Russians, understand you are going to either take it to them or you'd better have a good exit strategy because if they catch you, you're done.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's going to be brutal and it's going to be it's going to be horrific because the other
Yeah.
thing that the Russians have never been really all that mindful of, even as POWs, is what he's got a broken arm. Did you twist it to get information? No, we never did. We would never do something like that. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm just pointing it out there. We understood this when I was in the military. the Russians were the bad guys because the wall was still there. They were still the Soviets. We understood that if we ever got captured by the Soviets, we were screwed.
Yeah.
Okay? That the Soviets were not going to treat us with anything but disdain. Yes, when it comes to now Germany controlling the EU, World War II, were false flag operations for the real goal. This is what happens. I don't think there was a safe word. When you're dealing with an angry woman, random, when you deal, there ain't no safe word. You know what the safest word you can say is? Bye.
Yep.
That's your safe word. I know how to fight Russians before if you call them titty cats. I'm just putting it out there. If you get captured by the Russians, you are not going to be treated well. For people who don't understand this, I can give you an example. We had the Russians in 19, I think it was 1985, it must have been 86. In 1986, the Russians shot a U.S. major. All right, in East Berlin. They were accusing him of spying. Okay. They shot him, and instead of allowing people, including his attaché that was with him, to help him, they let him bleed out. Okay?
Hush, but fair. Mm-hmm.
Now, when they say that they were accusing him of espionage, they kind of had a case because he was climbing out of a T-80 when they shot him. Okay? I'm not saying that he wasn't spying. Okay? All right, just so you understand things. All right, I'm not saying that we were totally innocent in this case, but there was always a way of handling, turning suspected spies over with one another. Right, that was always a big thing that we did with the Russians. It was kind of a game. It stopped being a game when they did that because they intentionally killed him.
Yeah.
The Russians are like this. Okay, they haven't changed a whole lot from their Soviet Union days, and I think people need to understand that. All right, they need to be aware of what's happening, especially these guys that are going over there to fight the Ukrainians. I give you salutes. I give you a salute for doing it, but don't get captured because you're freaking toast, man.
No, yeah.
Sean, speak up though, man.
No, he's actually right. You are actually.
Am I a little low?
You've been. Actually, on the stream, it's been really quite quiet. To me, it's been fine, but on the stream, it's actually a little bit quiet, it has to be said.
Okay, well,
then again, there's this really, really cool thing called a volume control. You turn it up.
I do have that ability.
Speaking.
Yes, I do have that ability to speak up the volume control, which is what I'm doing now. Yeah. So people do this. So I apologize for that. I did not realize that. I'll have to play around with these OBS settings a little bit. I've been messing with them a little bit. All right, because that's the difference is when I'm going through OBS versus StreamYards. With StreamYards, I don't crank it up like this.
No.
Because I don't need to. But that's everything I've got for right now. Hope that you all have a good day. I just wanted to put it out there that the situation is now showing exactly what the Russians' intentions are, and their intention is basically to ignore the eastern, or the western rather, half of the Ukraine. While they solidify control on the eastern border, right, all the way through to take all the port areas. That's their goal, right? Yep. The goal is also to topple the Ukrainian government at this point and to install a puppet regime of some sort. That's what they're going for.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it plays out, but it's not looking good. But unless the world gets serious about confronting Vladimir, and unless they start getting serious about confronting these evil dictatorial regimes, I'm afraid a lot of people think that Russia can't win. Beg to differ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I beg to differ. enough of that. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Appreciate it. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. There we go. Ended the stream.